Today, we're going on a journey, but not to a different place. We're going to explore the hidden realities that are happening all around us right now. We're talking about the worlds that animals experience, and let me tell you, they are so different from our own. Over 90 years ago, the naturalist Henry Beston said something that really sticks with you. He called animals other nations. And he wasn't just being poetic. That's a scientific reality. See, animals aren't just little furry or scaly versions of us running around in our world. No, they're living in entirely different worlds, completely defined by what they can sense. So, let's just get right to it with a question. A big one. What if I told you that you, right now, are missing most of what's actually happening around you? I know, it sounds a little unsettling, right? But that's the core idea we're going to dig into. Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, it actually starts with us, with our own limits. We're going to start by looking at what's called our sensory bubble, and there's this great German word for it, Umwelt. I mean, just think about it for a second. Think about what we can actually sense. We see this tiny little sliver of the light spectrum, right? The rainbow. But we're completely blind to the ultraviolet light that's basically a landing strip for bees on a flower. We can't hear the super high-pitched alarm calls of mice. We definitely can't feel the Earth's magnetic fields that, sea turtles use to cross entire oceans. The point is, we're only getting a tiny piece of the full picture. And that brings us to this really crucial idea, the main concept for our whole conversation today, Umwelt. A biologist named Jakob von Uexküll made this term famous. And it's important to get this right. It's not the physical environment, it's the perceived environment. It's like every single creature is living inside its own little sensory bubble, experiencing its own custom-made slice of reality. All right, so if every animal is in its own little bubble, its own Umwelt, what does that actually mean? Well, let's jump into our next section because this is where it gets really interesting. Senses don't just perceive reality, they actually create it.
Okay, here's a great example. You'd probably think that bees' eyes evolved so they could see the pretty colors of flowers, right? Makes sense. But it's actually the other way around. The bee's eye, which can see blue, green, and ultraviolet light, came first. And then flowers evolved all their amazing colors specifically to look good to that pre-existing bee eye. The flowers literally evolved for the bee's sensory world, for its Umwelt.
And this all leads to this incredible idea from the author Yong. He says, beauty is not only in the eye of the beholder, it arises because of that eye. Think about that. Animal senses aren't just passive windows looking out at the world. They're like active artists actually painting nature's colors into existence. All right, if you thought that was cool, get ready. We're about to dive into the really mind-bending stuff. Let's talk about some animal superpowers, sensory worlds that are so alien we can barely even wrap our heads around them. Okay, get this. A dolphin can use its sonar, its echolocation, to find an object in really murky water, right? Just using sound. But here's the crazy part. After hearing it, if you show that dolphin a picture of the object on a screen, it recognizes it. It's never actually seen it before. For a dolphin, sound literally creates a detailed 3D picture in its brain. It is literally seeing with sound. And it's not just about weird ways of seeing or hearing. There's this whole other channel of communication happening all around us that we're completely deaf to, vibrations. There are these tiny little insects called leafhoppers, and they talk to each other by sending vibrations down plant stems. So next time you're in a park, just imagine it. There are these silent symphonies playing out all around us, and we have no idea. The list of these different sensory worlds just goes on and on. It's staggering. You've got sharks and platypuses that can sense the tiny electric fields that their prey give off. We already mentioned sea turtles, navigating thousands of miles of ocean just by feeling the planet's magnetic field. Each one of these is a totally different way to experience what reality even is. So here's the thing. All these other worlds, they're not science fiction. They are real, even if we can't sense them. And that brings us back to us. What happens when our sensory bubble, with all our noise and all our light, crashes into theirs? Think about it. All our technology is built for our senses. But for other animals, it's just pollution, sensory pollution. All our city lights at night, they can completely throw off migrating birds that use the stars to navigate. They just get lost. And all our noise, from cars, from factories,
It can totally drown out the tiny little rustle of a mouse in the leaves, which is the sound an owl needs to hear to eat.
And look, this is not some small fringe problem. To give you an idea of the scale, researchers found that our human noise has made background noise levels 10 times louder. And not just anywhere, in over 21% of protected natural areas in the US. These are supposed to be the quiet places, the refuges. And the consequences, well, they can be absolutely catastrophic. Take the story of Lake Victoria in Africa. Human pollution made the water all cloudy. This completely wiped out the different levels of light that hundreds of species of cichlid fish used to see each other, to tell each other apart for mating. And without those color cues, they couldn't find the right mates, and this incredibly diverse ecosystem just collapsed. It's been called the fastest large-scale extinction event we've ever seen.
So, wow, what do we do with all this? How does knowing about these other worlds change anything for us? Well, let's wrap this up by talking about how it can actually expand our own world by showing us the universe that's been hiding in plain sight all along.
When you really try to imagine what it's like to be another animal, to step into its Umwelt, you have to stretch your empathy. You have to stretch your imagination. It's not just a biology lesson. It's a tool that lets us see further, think more deeply, and really grapple with our own place in the world and just how limited our own viewpoint really is.
So in the end, exploring this immense world of animal senses shows us that there's noise in what we think is silence. There's so much richness in what we might see as nothing. And it just leaves you with this one big, lingering question. What other symphonies are playing all around us, right now, just waiting for us to find a way to listen?